Can you imagine a weapon so huge that it needed more than 5,000 men just to operate? A gun so massive that its shell weighed 7 tons, and its target could be 37 kilometers away? Hitler once looked at this weapon and confidently said, "With Dora, we will conquer the world." But the reality? This super gun, this giant masterpiece, this so-called war-winning machine, turned out to be completely useless. Why? How did one of the largest weapons ever built become a burden instead of a miracle? Why didn't it change the war? Why did Hitler's invincible creation fail so badly? Today, we uncover the truth behind the world's most bizarre, slow, and ultimately useless superweapon, Hitler's giant gun, Dora. It all began in 1941. World War II was at its peak, and Hitler had one big problem. The heavily fortified European defense lines, especially the Maginot Line, that stood like gigantic concrete walls blocking Germany's path. German engineers analyzed the problem and said, "We can't destroy these fortifications with normal artillery. We need something bigger, much bigger." That's when the famous German arms manufacturer Krupp came forward with a crazy idea. Let's build a gun so powerful that it can shatter not just stone, but shake entire railway tracks. Hitler loved the idea instantly. He ordered, "Build me the largest cannon the world has ever seen." And thus began the construction of Schwerer Gustav, and its even larger sister gun, Dora. A weapon so huge that moving it, assembling it, and firing it became a war of its own. Dora was not a gun. It was a monster. Its size alone was unbelievable. 47 meters long. 11 meters tall. Weighing more than 1,350 tons. A shell weighing 7,100 kilograms. A crew of 5,000 men. And the setup time? 3 to 6 weeks, just to prepare it for firing. A weapon like this created more problems for Germany than solutions. It was so gigantic that everything about it was slow. Moving it was slow. Building it was slow. Loading it was slow. Firing it was slow. It was less of a war machine, and more of a steel mountain that Germany had to drag behind. On paper, Dora looked incredible. Its range, 47 kilometers. Its shell power, enough to penetrate 1 meter of steel and 7 meters of concrete. Its firing sound, so loud that people could feel the vibration 10 kilometers away. But these were all theoretical advantages. On the battlefield, Dora failed in nearly every practical aspect. Hitler sent Dora to its first mission in 1942, during the siege of Sevastopol in Crimea. According to Hitler, this gun was going to destroy Soviet fortifications in just 2 days. Reality was brutal. It took 3 weeks just to assemble it. More than 10,000 German soldiers had to guard it day and night. Over 3 days, Dora fired 48 shells. The result? The Soviet fort was still standing. The shells were massive, but the accuracy was horrible. Where they were supposed to land, they would fall 100 or even 200 meters away. Hitler was furious. "What is this? This is a joke," he shouted. German engineers quietly responded, "Sir, it's impossible for a gun this big to be accurate at this distance." Dora was powerful on paper. But in the real world it was nothing more than an expensive noisemaker. The gun had 7 major flaws that turned it into a useless machine. First, it had no mobility. It required 2 parallel railway tracks to move. You had to build the tracks first, then bring Dora, then assemble it. War moves fast, Dora didn't. Second, it was impossible to hide. A giant iron mountain can't be camouflaged. Reconnaissance planes could spot it from 20 kilometers away. If you can't hide a weapon, you can't protect it. Third, it needed way too many people. A crew of 5,000 men, that's not an artillery gun, that's a moving colony. Fourth, its accuracy was awful. A 7-ton shell fired across 40 kilometers behaves unpredictably. A small shift in wind or air pressure, and the shell would land far away from the target. Fifth, maintenance was a nightmare. After every single shot, the barrel had to be cooled, checked, aligned, and recalibrated. Preparing for the next shot took hours. Sixth, it was the easiest possible target for enemy aircraft. Allied planes could have destroyed it with ease. That's why Germany always kept it hidden, which defeated the purpose of having it. Seventh, the cost was ridiculous. The money spent on Dora could have built more than 50 Tiger tanks. Tanks that could move, fight, defend, attack, retreat, everything a real weapon is supposed to do. Dora was just a giant piece of metal consuming resources. The gun had a second mission, Stalingrad. But Stalingrad was brutal street fighting, buildings, ruins, close-range combat. A supergun firing from 40 kilometers away was useless there. The bitter cold froze the mechanisms. The barrel jammed. The parts stiffened. Even the soldiers operating it were freezing. Hitler finally gave the order. Bring Dora back. It failed on its second battlefield visit as well. The truth is, Hitler was obsessed with gigantic machines. He loved giant tanks, giant rockets, giant weapons. He believed bigger means stronger. But war doesn't work that way. In war, smart beats big. German engineers warned him. If you spend your resources on planes or mobile artillery, we can win the war. But Hitler refused to listen. The result? Germany's steel, manpower, fuel, factories, and time were all wasted on a weapon that barely made any difference. Dora wasn't a military weapon. It was an ego weapon. A symbol of Hitler's obsession, not Germany's strength. In 1945, as the Allies approached Berlin, Nazi commanders feared that Dora might fall into enemy hands. If the Allies captured it, they would expose Hitler's biggest failure. So the Germans blew up Dora themselves. Destroyed it completely. Today, only broken pieces remain in museums. A giant gun that couldn't move, couldn't hide, couldn't hit accurately, and couldn't change anything in the war. Why was Dora useless? Because it was too big to use, too expensive to maintain, too easy to destroy, too inaccurate to trust, too slow for a fast-paced war. It was an engineering wonder, but a military blunder. This is the lesson Dora left behind. Wars are not won by the biggest weapons, but by the smartest ones. Hitler built the largest cannon the world had ever seen, but using it drained Germany's time, money, and strength. In the end, Dora didn't destroy Germany's enemies. It destroyed Germany's war strategy.